Hi, Cancer. This is your home light security reading for the month of June for all Cancer signs. If you've never watched these videos before, please look at that information right there. It helps you to understand how to understand these readings, whether you're sun, moon, or rising. Okay, the very first thing Spirit gives me before I get into the cards and the astrology is Venus. And this is, I always say Venus is not love. I always say Venus is your emotional, mental, and spiritual sensitivity. And I'm feeling like it's being tweaked. I'm feeling like also the empath in you is being tweaked, or the psychic energy is being tweaked, whether that's good or bad. Because sometimes it's upgrades, which are good, but also with upgrades and so forth, things get all berserko and a little bit whack from time to time. Spirit is saying, slow down, trust your intuition, trust in your own divine spiritual wisdom. Know when it's just three-dimensional ego. Pay attention to your spiritual communication, and know when you're feeling it is coming deeply from spirit from within. But they're also saying, what do you fear? Because this is the comfort zone, people. It's getting out of the comfort zone, because there's a lot of shadow work going on. It's speaking about needing to speak with authority, but not necessarily trying to push to receive. Trying to understand that you need to go at the pace that's best for you, not necessarily the pace that you want to go in. And knowing how to balance this and finding harmony within the shift, as well as within your own inner peace, your own inner security. Knowing when you're being too hard on your own self with self-judgment, when you're letting incoming negative self-judgment come in. And then knowing when you're letting that inner self-judgment come in, that it's actually shifting your manifestation as well as your vibration. And that you need to not allow that to happen. You need to learn how to break that pattern. And ultimately, all that is doubt over your spiritual path, which then slows stuff down and makes you have to take steps back. I am warning you guys, the energies that you're seeing during this week and over this next month are definitely energies that are helping you move forward through a lot of shadow and dark work, but ultimately it's a test to see that you're ready to move forward, because doing this right could be 6 steps forward. Doing it wrong is going to cost you, in about 2-3 months, 6 steps backwards. Best way of putting it. Hold on, Spirit's giving me something to say here. Is also speaking to you about the human animal nature of selfishness and, like I said, pushing to receive. But this is also levels of not stepping into, I'm number one and I'm the only one that counts. Because apparently somewhere people are feeling, up against a wall, and like they have to push to receive. They have to manipulate, threaten, bark back in order to. And this is just levels of not just insecurity, but not trusting in their truth, not trusting in their intuitiveness, not trusting in their psychic ability, not trusting in the universal flow taking you where you need to be if you can just believe in you without having to know and control every step of the way. This has to do with communicating your inner peace again, which will help ultimately move you forward. But it's teaching you to get out of your own mind, of your own inner malice, versus confusion or prolonged confusion, anger, inadequacy, inferiority, because those are all lower vibrations that keep you from rebirthing. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go through the cards and then I'll jump into the astrology. What does Cancer need to hear for the month of June? This is not a deck that's for sale. It's just a deck on cue cards that I made. And what's coming up is Taurus energy. There's a lot going on in Taurus, which I'm sure has something to do with why they're pulling Taurus. But for the cards, it's endless patience and reliability. Taurus is stubborn and can be inflexible. It can be the bull, and it can be bullheaded for all the right reasons or all the wrong reasons. And which ones are you picking? Are you being bullheaded for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? Are you being inflexible for the right reasons or the wrong reasons? This is talking about patience and being able more or less to receive it as it comes by acknowledging if you're being bullheaded for the right reason or the wrong. Taurus doesn't like change. It's comfortable with what it knows and what it likes and what it wants and what it desires. It doesn't like the shift because it just doesn't. And this is part of what this is about, is letting go of having to have control over where everything is taking you, because ultimately it's keeping you from being connected on that higher spiritual self with yourself. Because what it's actually tapping into is lower vibrations of doubt, wonder. I mean, it should be wonder, but if it's doubt, anxiety, doubt over the path, it leads to anxiety, fear, confusion, and then it just spawns from there. So this is saying, you got to be willing to enjoy the unknown and believe in yourself and believe in where it can take you, instead of having to, like I said, push to receive. What else does, thank you, because you can't really see that it says the sun. It is the executive director of all things. It is what is illuminating. It is the core of what is going on. It is the core of the manifestation. It is of where you are in your vibrational frequency, the law of attraction. It's the core of acknowledging where on your spiritual journey you are with your true self. It's shining, whether it's shining on the soul or the pride, and it's asking you where you're allowing that illumination to ultimately manifest. What else does Cancer need to hear for the month of June? What else does Cancer need to hear for the month of June? No. Is there anything? They're giving me a whole lot of sentiment, and for me, sentiment is definitely, you just need to get into your higher vibration. You need to get in there. You need to believe in it and stay in it. Find your sacred spiral consciousness of nature and becoming aware of it, but at the same time setting the rules, walls, and boundaries. Like I said, this is also Saturn just went retrograde, so setting the proper rules, walls, and boundaries, as well as feeling comfortable in your own skin, because Saturn is also the skeleton itself, and the skin, it is the barrier between you and the outer world. So it's not just about setting the rules, walls, and boundaries against the outer world. It's about feeling comfortable in your own skin so that you can have Neptune and actually create something new. Neptune is psychic, it's magic, it is compassionate, but it's also nostalgia, it's also romance, it's fantasy versus reality. So this is asking you, are you escaping or are you creating? Abundant knowledge, Jupiter. It is the magnet. It is optimistic. It is generous, but it is also excessive. It can be excessive, whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing. So this is all about understanding what you're creating, what you're illuminating, what you're manifesting. And this is Zion in Hebrew. It is also the crown. It is the proper food that needs to be cut away to nourish. So it's in a form, it's nurturing by making sure you're cutting away the ill will of things so that you're nourishing yourself healthy. It is the that's what I just said. It is like, they're giving me like Michael's sword, cutting away the negativity so that it's able to nourish and replenish you. It is the lock and the key. It is the soul experience of the sacred and returning the light back to you again. So this is definitely a very positive, it's gonna be a very positive time, but there's definitely lessons here of who you are and where you're trying to be, as to how far along you're going with this. I'm also getting, there's another Hebrew, which is, you have to bend, open, allow, and tame. This is part of what Hebrew can be very hard to understand. It is the faith, the sublime, the pleasure, and the will. It is the actual potential being brought into manifestation by understanding how it works. Understanding consciously that creating the instinctive energy actualizes each moment and then breathes its will into the ability of creation. So this is, I'm really feeling like it's a lot of begetting energy and playing by the moment. Really, I just really want to say playing by the moment, standing grounded, playing by the moment, and going one moment at a time, one day at a time, and allow yourself to grow without trying to go too far too fast. Anything else for Cancer? Okay. What else does Cancer need to hear for the month of June? What else does Cancer need to hear for the month of June? Can you lift that vibration? Please. Thank you. What else does Cancer need to hear for the month of June? What does Cancer signs need to hear for the month of June? I don't like the way you're popping it up. And if you don't shift it, I'm not going to take a card, period. Splitting apart. Limit so that you can give away. It is separation, letting go, surrender. What was I saying? It is ultimately, in a form, the death card. It is letting go so something new can come into being. It is keeping still, meditating. Becoming more mature, spiritually mature and sound. It is in the womb, like the child in the belly of the womb. It is not quite ready for birth. So this is taking the time in the process to get it right, really. Yep, because the next card out is completion. And that's what a lot of this is for a lot of people, is completing a cycle if we're learning what patterns we have to change. Really, that's what it is learning what cycles we have to change so that we can move forward. Now, let me get into the astrology for the week. For the month. You have Mercury, which is moving into Gemini. This is your 12th house. Mercury is going to be moving into Gemini. You have the full moon that is taking place in Sag on pretty much the galactic center on the 14th. Then you have the sun, which will be going into your sign on the 21st. But Venus is going to be going into Gemini, your 12th house, on the 22nd. On the 28th, you have the new moon taking place from your 12th house on the 28th, as well as Neptune will be going retrograde on the 28th in Pisces. We have Saturn, which is now in retrograde. You still have Pluto, which is in retrograde. And nobody's really talking about the fact that Jupiter is in shadow. And that has a lot to do with the creative energy and making sure that we're creating something brand new and not something from a comfort zone of stagnant that's really not moving forward. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with the sun, because the sun is, not your 12th house, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. The sun is in Gemini up until the 21st, when it illuminates Cancer signs going into Cancer. However, depending on when you were born, if you're a Cancer sun, you may not actually have the sun entering that first house until that date of your birth. Technically, it will still be the 12th house until the date of your birth. But on a universal scale, this is the way I'm giving it to you. Now, when Gemini goes into Cancer, your house of Cancer, it's coming into your first house. But you're having, right now, the sun is illuminating a lot of the unconscious truths about yourself. It's giving you the option to learn the lesson and bring the healing, or escape and stay in denial. It is showing you the hidden truths of your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, and insecurities. It's trying to bring it up into light and see if you have the courage to truly honestly ask yourself how you feel about this and if you can create the healing and bring it forward. The 12th house is our unconscious mind. It's our self-sabotage. It's our self-undoing. It's our grief, sorrow, shame, blame, and the skeletons in the closet. It's what you sweep under the rug, but it's still in the same room. It's right there, but you can still play big pink elephant. So the sun is bringing up these uncomfortable facts, but it's about to come into your first house. Now, here's the thing. Your first house right now may not exactly be the most strongest because we have Lilith here, which ultimately on a universal scale is very nurturing as the 4th house. It's nurturing the family nest. It's nurturing the soul, the inner emotional security, the roots. But what it may be asking you is, where is heartbreak really keeping you from moving forward? Where is heartbreak and the sadness that you're still holding on to the weight of? See, because you have Lilith here. Lilith normally helps us stand in our fire, helps us, have just enough ego to help keep us balanced and help us come full circle, ask us, what we're here for, what we burn for. But Lilith in Cancer is more nurturing to everything else, but not to herself. She's more submissive here. And you're going to be waiting for the sun to move in after the 21st, when it's going to finally come into your sign, getting into the character of who and what you are, how you view the world. So you've been seeing things from the 12th house point of view. Then when it comes in, it's still going to have a little bit of that submissive feel because of Lilith right now. Because of wanting to nurture right now. But what it's not really nurturing is the positive intent of seeing the world without fear, seeing the world through positive eyes. I mean, you guys are the crab. You're the crab for a reason. You have your own armor because inside you are super emotional. One of the reasons you're one of the biggest known empaths. But you put on the hard facade. This is asking you to see past the facade, to see those truths, but to not become submissive, to not give away your power, to not allow the world to dictate how you view yourself or the world around you, because this is all how you unify with your character. Are you nurturing the character you want to be? Or are you neglecting the character you want to be and just staying the character you've always been? Are you taking the proper steps here to loving yourself and the world around you properly so that you can see and manifest the world you want or the one you want to complain about? And therefore need to continue to keep that hard armor on. Now, you have the new moon that's going to come in at the end of the month in your 12th house. So even though the sun's moving forward, you still have all of this energy coming into your 12th house, making it even more sensitive. And really forcing you to address, your inner scars is what I heard. And the armor that you're wearing, and if it truly still suits you, if it truly still fits properly, or maybe you need some new armor. Maybe you've outgrown it. Maybe you need to shift it a little bit. Because the 12th house is all about the healing that is needed in order for the new cycle to begin. And we're addressing both sides here. Again, bringing us back to a deeper reasoning from being, without being so emotionally inclined that You go overboard. Really. Now, your 5th house is the creative zone. It has the South Node here. Your 5th house is speaking to you all about your fun, your expression, your being able to have time for you to enjoy the life that you're living. And are you stepping into the ability of actually working for that, working into that, taking the time to acknowledge just depths about yourself and what you want to experience? Or are you just keeping the same creative juices flowing, the same hobbies, the same habits, because, well, they're there? There's no fulfillment. Are you getting fulfillment? Or is it just, nah, day to day, nah? Are you truly being fulfilled in the soul with your creative expression, with your time? Are like, artists need to be able to put forth their art and get it out of them. Healers tend to want to bring healing to everybody, and astrologers are always talking about, you see where I'm going. What is your thing? Do you even know what your thing is? Do you know what you enjoy? Are you being able to express who you are, what you want to be, and allow yourself to try new to find out if it works or not and grow? The South Node is saying, nah, I'm good. But are you fulfilled? That's the question. Now, as you move into your 6th house, this is where your full moon is going to take place on the galactic center. The galactic center is bringing in the energy of the manifestation, of the divine ascension, of the galactic center, of being able to know, are you soulfully coming into source within yourself, coming into wholeness within yourself, coming into inner peace within yourself? And this is saying, a lot of this is going to be writing on your ability to nurture yourself properly. And what I mean by that is people, places, and things of energies that you consume you. So the people, places, and energies that you are a part of on a daily routine basis, they feed your soul or they rotten your soul. And ultimately, are they feeding you getting better with experiencing you, with exploring your soul itself? Do you have time for it? Again, because in the 6th house is your daily mundane tasks. It's what you overlook and you don't think is a big deal, but it's a very big deal. It's where the manifestation takes its biggest level of manifestation. And it's in the 6th house, which is saying something about the people, places, and things of energy that you keep is going to be illuminating if it's truly healthy for you, or if there's habits that need to be shifted, patterns that need to be shifted within these people, places, and things. Because the mundane is only mundane because you do it so much. So is it something that's actually spiritually manifesting, or manifesting what you want to manifest? Or are you just manifesting, let me go nowhere, let me not really move forward? This is going to be coming up with the full moon, and it's going to be an illumination of your 12th house. because that's where the sun is. And it's going to be getting into the grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities. So where are you giving your power away? And you're not getting time for you. Where are you literally just handing it out and feeding your diet what you don't want? Like I said, Sagittarius is the higher self. You have everything right now showing you where you're walking the right line and where you're walking the wrong line. It's just where you see it. Will you help redirect yourself by really tapping in? Now, as you go into your 7th house, this is your relationships. And then your 8th house. And I'm putting them together because the relationship and the rules and the regeneration of the relationships are all based on the rules, the walls, the boundaries, the being able to try new things, the being able to shift them in specific directions. And I always say Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius, for me, I feel like it's more of I'm willing to try something new. But you have Pluto, which is also in retrograde in your 7th house. So this is saying, are you willing to try things that help you explore you within the relationships? Are you willing to explore the depths of yourself within these relationships and then the relationship, not the other way around? This is asking you, are you giving yourself the proper time by setting the relationship in a healthy balance, a neutral zone, to where you're both fairly equal and can truthfully see eye to eye, truthfully grow, and truthfully find out if you're in the proper connection, if you're in alignment or not, or if the rules, walls, and boundaries are showing you the misalignment. Now, when you go into the 9th house, this is where Neptune is going to retrograde at the end of the month. On the 28th, he goes retrograde the same day as the new moon in Gemini. This is asking you, are you really tapping into not just your magic, into your soul, but are you tapping into the ability to connect to the higher source self? Are you tapping into your true ethics, morals, your spiritual truths? Are you tapping into going beyond what you've always known and getting given it again, and truly seeing the big picture about your spirituality, your truth, your ethics, your morals? Is there a place here that you need to learn? Because Neptune doesn't care if he creates positive magic or negative magic. It's up to you to feed him properly. And what I mean by this is, I use this from time to time. What Spirit's giving me is like, are you seeing the whole picture? And what they give me is like, there's the wall, and the wall has a window in the middle of it, and you can see out the window. You see the world going on out the window. But if you step further back, you see the wall, and it might have paintings on it. It may have, knickknacks and shelves on it. But when you're looking at the full picture, are you just looking out the window and what's going on out there? Or are you looking at, does the wall need to be painted? Does the frames of the pictures, are they crappy? Do you need new frames? Is the knickknacks secure? Are you seeing the full picture here? This is speaking to you about your spiritual truth, your spiritual knowledge, your psychic abilities, and your ability to ascend and grow and mature and bring in more knowledge. Are you good with what you know? Are you good with only being where you're at? Or are you ready to explore more? Because that's where Neptune in retrograde is going to take you. Is, am I going to escape because I don't want to know more? So let me just look out the window. But I don't want to see the whole picture. No. Or are you willing to step back and go, what else can I learn? About myself even. Now your 10th house and your 11th house is what's off the chain. Your 10th house is the key here. Okay? Because the 10th house is your honor, your reputation, your prestige, how you see the world according to your financial situation and your social foundations. It's also a lot to do with how you're bringing in your money. Not from a manifestation point of view, but from the outer world point of view. And do you have authority to actually bring it to you? Because of that honor, reputation, and prestige. Are you showing your worth? Now you have Jupiter, which is in shadow, and will go retrograde on the 28th of next month. So even though Jupiter is in Aries, it's been all gung-ho, let's try new things. Mars is here, giving it passion, action, aggression to try new things, to step in and do something. This is why I keep telling everybody, do not go after the ecstasy. Do not go after the false ecstasy, like the piece of chocolate, like, oh, that is so yummy, but now it's gone, and what do I have to show for it? A couple extra pounds? Maybe it wasn't healthy for you. What I'm trying to say is don't go after the false idea of this is such a glorious idea, and then there's no fulfillment in the long run. You didn't truly get to the ecstasy. And the reason I'm saying this is because Jupiter is in shadow. Jupiter is going to expand on anything it touches. But Aries energy is very fast. I want what I want, and I want it right now. And if I don't get it, well, then I'm going to give it up. I'm going to try something new. This time to stay focused. Jupiter is in Jupiter, higher knowledge, spiritual self. Normally it rules the higher self. It's in the outer world right now, your political arena. It's in your spiritual, it's in your political arena, your honor, your prestige, your financial success, your social foundations, your outer world's authority according to, can you back up what you really say you are? And then it's going to retrograde back into the universal 12th house, going back into your 9th house. Did you learn anything about yourself or not? Did you learn anything about your psychic abilities, about your spiritual connection, about your higher self? Are you in denial? Are you denying it? Are you the elephant in the room? So this is saying, are you seeing yourself through true eyes? Because you don't want Jupiter to retrograde backwards in a month and a half, 2 months, and force you to have to take 6 steps backwards because you wouldn't do it now. You don't want it to mess up your next year. You want to make sure that you're being completely full circle honest with yourself. You're tapping into your insecurities so that you can see what patterns have to shift so that you can actually create what you're trying to create by knowing thyself on a deeper level. Then we move over to your, what is the 11th house? Your 11th house, which is the groups, the memberships, the committees, what you're part of, the outer world and that social foundation, which actually help breathe into life your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. It's loaded. With Venus here until the 13th, with Mercury here, with Uranus, the North Node, Pallas, Athena, the warrior goddess, wisdom, strategic thinking, knowledge. This is Venus I say all the time, Venus is not love. Venus tells you how to make it work for you and where it didn't work for you, where you were betrayed versus where you were treated in kind, where you are loved versus where you are literally hated. It shows you what loves you, what is trying to help you, what is good for you, but it also shows you what hinders you, what harms you, and what you don't want any more of. On a universal level, Taurus is your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom, your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. It is your manifestation house and your money house on a universal level. However, for you, all of this comes from the outer world and the committees, the groups, the memberships that you keep, because that shows the world and yourself, if you're seeing yourself truly, as to the peers you keep. Also, chameleon energy. Do you become the crowd? Do you like what the crowd stands for? Or not? This is asking you, quite honestly, your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your finances, your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. All right on the people you keep, the places you keep, the memberships you keep, what you do with your time, what you feed your energy. And are those energies that are feeding on you helping support in a balance, or are they feeding on you and taking from you? It shows the world the person that you are, but are you seeing the person that you are? Ah, crap. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Had to hit a button. And then the last thing here is your 12th house, where that new moon is going to take place. Asking you, did you come full circle and seeing the person and the pieces that you still have hidden under the skeletons, under the closet, under the rug, the dust under the rug. You have Venus moving into your 12th house, your grief, sorrow, shame, blame, insecurities, your self-undoing. You have the sun that's about to move out. You have the new moon taking place there. You are rebirthing from your 12th house. So are you healing the 12th house? Or are you going to stay in the 12th house? Will you continue to stay in the 12th? Or are you actually going to step forward into your first and recreate by acknowledging the patterns that you don't like and breathing them into a new? I love you. Bye.